Welcome to the Balanced Blood Sugar Podcast, where we focus on everyday wellness for everyone. I'm Adrienne, a registered nurse, here to share tips, habits, and lifestyle shifts that can help you feel your best by stabilizing blood sugar and improving your overall health. Everything we discuss is designed for general health and routine education because everyone deserves to feel empowered with the right information. But I'm not your personal nurse, so make sure to check with your healthcare provider before making any changes. Let's dive into today's episode. Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Balanced Blood Sugar Podcast. I'm Adrienne, your host and blood sugar balance cheerleader. First, let me say happy Thanksgiving to all of our USA listeners. Can you believe that it is already here? My goodness, this year has gone by. But this time of year usually brings so much joy and happiness and togetherness. But let's be honest, it also brings a lot of food in most of our homes. In our house, Thanksgiving is about family and delicious traditions. We like to keep it cozy and traditional with a small turkey and sweet potato casserole, mashed cauliflower, green beans, cheesy biscuits, and my all-time favorite, pecan pie. Now, fun fact, I only make pecan pie like once or twice during the holiday season because, I usually eat the whole thing myself. But since it's low carb and sugar free, I don't have to feel guilty about it. And I do make pecan pie and cherry pie as well, if anyone's interested. But pecan is definitely my go-to. But on today's episode, I want to talk about how to help you enjoy Thanksgiving without stressing out over every bite. We'll talk about how stress impacts your blood sugar, more about balancing indulgence with health, and the surprising power of gratitude and blessings, even for your food. So grab your cup of tea or coffee and let's settle in and get started. Let's start with stress, because if we're all honest, even the most joyful holidays can bring it on. Between planning the meal, hosting family, putting up decorations, keeping everyone happy, and trying to carry out all the traditions and being festive, stress levels can spike. And guess what? Stress doesn't just affect your mood. It directly impacts your blood sugar. Here's how it works. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Its job is to help you survive if you're being attacked by a bear. But the problem is, most of our holiday stress isn't about survival, so we don't need that quick injection of blood sugar to raise our energy. It's typically about Sally's opinion of your mashed cauliflower or whether or not the turkey is dry. So cortisol doesn't just stop at raising your blood sugar for energy. It also makes your cells less sensitive to insulin. Now, insulin is the key that unlocks your cells. It's like the gatekeeper hormone. It is what opens the door of the cell, allowing glucose to move from your bloodstream into your cells. So think about insulin like your cell's door. When insulin isn't working properly because cortisol is standing in the way, you are what doctors call insulin resistant. Glucose ends up staying trapped in your bloodstream because it can't get through the insulin door into your cells. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little confusing. So then when your cells are insulin resistant, could be multiple causes, but in this situation we're talking about the high levels of stress. So if you have high levels of stress and your insulin door is broken, basically, and the glucose can't get out of your bloodstream and into your cells, this leads to high blood sugar for a longer period of time, which makes you feel tired and irritable. You crave carbs or sweets because your cells don't realize you have enough sugar because the cells aren't getting what they need. You get my drift here? So the glucose is stuck in the bloodstream. Your body has plenty of glucose, but your cells feel like they're starving because the sugar can't get from your blood into the cell. Okay? So it makes you hungry for sugar because your cells are like, oh, we need sugar. But your blood's like, I've got enough. I just can't give it to you. Got my drift? Insulin resistance stands in the way there. So this is where it gets even more interesting. Elevated blood sugar acts like a hailstorm in your body. So imagine all those little extra glucose molecules in your bloodstream. They're trying to get in the cell and they can't get in. So they're like little ice balls just pinging around all over your blood tissues and all over your vessels and all throughout your bloodstream. They're just kind of pinging around everywhere. Over time, these little ice balls can cause damage that leads to chronic inflammation, which becomes the root of almost all chronic disease, including prediabetes and diabetes. Whew. Well, here is the good news. Reducing stress can lower cortisol, which improves insulin sensitivity and basically kind of repairs your insulin door. Got it? So when you reduce stress, you improve the door to your cells that helps allow glucose to get back into the cell and not be pinging ice balls everywhere, which helps to reduce the inflammation. Got me? It's a little bit confusing. So even small actions like taking deep breaths or taking a bubble bath, stepping outside for a quick walk, or like we live where it's really cold. So we've invested in grounding mats. Grounding mats are a great way to you just put your bare skin on them, like your feet or whatever, and it can help transfer energy from your body. So it helps decrease that stress. When you decrease that stress, it opens up those insulin doors and helps to reduce overall inflammation in your body. Got it? Okay. And things like practicing prayer or practicing gratitude, all of those things can interrupt the stress cycle and protect your health. Got me? The whole goal ends up being reducing inflammation, reducing stress, helps reduce all the hormones that lead to the cascade of inflammation. Got me? So remember, even though holidays are about family and joy and all kinds of awesomeness, they can be stressful. So it's very important that we remember that the holidays are more than just the perfect table setting or perfect decorations. It's okay to let go of those little things and give yourself grace. Because when we give ourselves grace, we reduce that stress response. Okay? So now let's move into talking about some words. Let's talk about grace. Let's talk about something fascinating, grace and the power of words. Did you know that our words can actually impact the physical world around us? Even our food, and science totally proves this. There is a famous study by Dr. Masaru Emoto, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, where he looked at water molecules under a microscope after they'd been exposed to different words, music, and prayers. And when the water was blessed or exposed to kind and loving words, the ice crystals that formed were stunningly beautiful. Think about the perfect snowflakes. But when exposed to harsh or negative words, the water that formed was ice crystals that looked chaotic and disjointed, and they were more like cracks and fissures instead of beautiful snowflakes. I tried to find that video on YouTube again, and I couldn't find it because it seems like his later rice experiment has actually become more popular now because it doesn't require a microscope to see it. So it's the same idea, but you can see the visual results so much cooler and so much crazier when you mix the water with the rice and you could see the different effects. So it's a lot easier to see without a microscope. So I've actually linked a couple of those YouTube videos in the show notes for you to check out, and you definitely don't want to miss it because seeing the visual of rotting food that had been exposed to harsh words and good food that had been exposed to positive words. It's just crazy, the power of words on our on the physical molecules. And you can see it in the rice, which is so crazy. But it's incredible how the power of our words can make such an impact. Now, I want you to think about how this applies to the food on our tables, okay? When we bless our food, it's not just an act of gratitude and faith and positivity. This is actually discussed in 1 Timothy 4, especially verses 4-5, where God says, "For every creation of God is good, and nothing that is received with thanksgiving should be rejected, for it is sanctified by the power of God and prayer," by the word of God and prayer. Isn't that crazy? Like, God already knew that the power of blessing our food would manifest physically in our food. So insane. And Proverbs 18:21 reminds us that the tongue has the power of life and death. And Galatians 6:7 says, "A man reaps what he sows." So all of these verses speak about our power of words to bring physical life and death over a situation and cause us to reap whatever we sow. So when we speak blessings over our meals, over our food, and we thank God for his provision, we're not only nourishing our bodies and creating a positive, peaceful atmosphere, but we're also enhancing the physical molecules of our food and therefore the health benefits of the food itself. Like, isn't that crazy? Sometimes it amazes me how much God has hidden in science, and he has always known the benefits of blessing our food, but it's amazing how science often confirms what God has already said. So let's make sure to sanctify our food with blessings and prayer, and do be sure to check out those YouTube videos that I linked, because it is just epic to watch those experiments and just see the visual power of blessing your food. It'll just shake your world. It's so cool. Okay, speaking about food, let's take a minute to talk about how we should enjoy our food at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is meant to be enjoyed, and that includes indulging in some of our favorite dishes. So here's how we handle it in my house and in my mother's house. We love sweet potatoes, we love cheesy biscuits and pumpkin and pecan pie, but we aim for balance. So we usually always start our meal with protein and fiber, like turkey and green beans, and we try to keep our blood sugar steady. So we enjoy smaller portions of the carby sides, like sweet potato casserole, and then we save dessert for last. Now, I will say, in our home, we make our recipes healthier. So as I've talked about in previous episodes with swapping sweeteners, we do our best to make healthier versions of our traditional favorites. So for example, my pecan pie and my cheesy biscuits are actually a sugar-free, low-carb version, but they just taste just as good as a traditional. Like, I don't even feel like I'm missing out. But I actually included some of those in my new holiday recipe book, if you're interested in trying them. Anybody who's already subscribed on our email list, or if you grab our free Get Started guide in the show notes, I'm actually going to be sending out that holiday recipe book over the next few days, sending it out to our email list so that you have them and you can buy the ingredients you need to make your own healthier Thanksgiving if you'd like. You just need to bring your own meat. But the key is, for Thanksgiving, you need to enjoy your meal joyfully. Even if you're not making the healthy swaps, even if you're just doing the traditional recipes you've always done, do it without guilt. Enjoy your food without guilt. Use all the tips we've talked about. Eat your protein first, eat your green beans first, pile on the butter, make sure you've got that solid foundation of protein, fat, and fiber so that when you're eating those more carby sides like sweet potatoes, you're not overeating them. You're enjoying them. Enjoy those delicious things, but don't eat dessert by itself. Make sure you're eating it with the turkey that you have. Make sure you're eating smaller portions than you usually would, but enjoy eating them. Move around, go for a walk, do all those things that we've talked about. But ultimately, remember, one meal is not going to make or break your health. Okay. So how you approach this holiday season overall totally matters. No one wants to feel guilty over this holiday season. So don't. Just use those tips and tricks that we've talked about and enjoy your life. Remember, we are all about small, sustainable changes that matter over a long period. Okay. So as we wrap it up, I want to shift our focus to the heart of Thanksgiving. It is not just about the food. It's about the blessings that we get to share with all of those we love. And this year, I am especially thankful for my little family and the joy of seeing my daughter fall in love with cooking. Oh my goodness. She just got a kitchen from her grandparents for her birthday, and she is in that little kitchen experimenting with her fake pretend food. And I just love getting to watch her serve her family on FaceTime. We just love getting to watch her enjoy that experience. So I am so excited to get to incorporate her into helping me make the meal this year. I think it's going to be so fun. Watching her delight in the holiday season this year, it just reminds me so much of the simple beauty and gratitude of childlike joy. We just get to love all the giggles and all the jollies that are filling our home this year. She learns to sing jingle bells and she starts helping me with all the food. She is grasping such a bigger understanding of the season this year, and it's just so much more fun. So I just want you to think about that. Stop and think about the things in your life that you're thankful for. Remember that Thanksgiving is a time to pause and reflect and thank God for his provision in our lives. And even if your table isn't picture perfect or as full as you thought it would be, or you're end up eating more than you originally planned, don't let guilt rob you of the joy that this season brings. Grace abounds, and tomorrow is a new day to find balance if you fall off the wagon. This is not a one and done, all in or all out type of, life. This is a lifestyle where we get to choose what's healthiest for us, what makes us feel the best, and get to live our best life together. Because we don't make these choices out of guilt. We don't make these choices because we feel bad about who we are. We make these choices because we want a better life for ourselves and for our family and for our future and all the other reasons why. And if you haven't yet found your why, I want you to download my Get Started Guide, because in that, even if you're already on my email list, grab it anyway if you don't have it. Because in there, I've incorporated a bunch of questions to help you think about your why. Think about what motivates you to live healthier so that even during this holiday season, you're making choices that serve you. You're making choices that you feel good about, and not ones that you're guilty for, or not ones that, you hate yourself for later, So make sure you check that out if you haven't yet found your why that really motivates you to get going on these healthier choices in your life. Okay. I know I covered a lot in this episode. Hopefully it made sense. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. I don't know if you can reach out to me on the all the podcast platforms, but on my Buzzsprout website, you can totally click the little fan mail button and send us a message. You can reach me through Instagram and Facebook in the show notes. Just make sure you reach out to me with any questions that you have. I'm always more than happy to answer them. But thank you so much for spending part of your Thanksgiving week with us today. I hope that today's episode encouraged you to find balance, reduce stress, and enjoy the holidays with more of an open heart. And if you'd like some extra support, be sure to check out our resources in the show notes. I've linked the YouTube videos that I totally think you should check out. I linked the holiday recipe book, our free Get Started guide, and I also turned our workshop from earlier this November. I also put the replay up on demand. So if you're interested in that, go for it. I do plan to put it on sale for Black Friday, so you might hold out. If I haven't announced that sale yet, it will go on sale for Black Friday. But before that, I just want to say that I love to hear from you. What are your favorite Thanksgiving traditions? Share it with me on social or via email. I love to know what you're up to this season. I love learning about you guys and what's going on. If you grab our holiday book, do make sure to let me know what you think of our recipes. But until next time, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. And I hope that your holiday season is filled with gratitude, joy, and lots of peace and yummy food. And that it helps you nourish your body, your mind, and your soul and your spirit. And anyway, I just hope that you enjoy this episode, and we will talk with you all later. Bye-bye.